and easy concept based learning. Here in this lecture we will learn about peripheral ameloblastoma. Okay. So before we continue with the lesion, let me tell you one small important thing. The word peripheral, wherever you hear this word peripheral, and specifically when it is associated with some tumor, the peripheral variant, okay, if you hear something like that, it always means that the conventional tumor occurs in the bone and the peripheral variant of it occurs extraosseously outside the bone in the soft tissues. So the peripheral always means, when it is, again mind you, when it is used as a prefix to any intraosseous tumor, it means the extraosseous variant, extraosseous or the soft tissue variant. So applying the same thing here in peripheral ameloblastoma, this is the odontogenic tumor or the variant of ameloblastoma which occurs in the soft tissues as opposed to the conventional ameloblastomas which occur in the bone. Now, where in the soft tissue do they occur? Since it is odontogenic tumor only, these ameloblastomas, they arise in the gingiva. In the gingiva and the soft tissues overlying the alveolar bone. Overlying the bone, alveolar bone. Okay. Coming to the histogenesis of the tumor, this tumor, it is, even though it is an extraosseous variant, it is still an odontogenic tumor. So it arises or originates from either the surface epithelium or the cell rest of cell rays, which are nothing but the remnants of the dental lamina. Now coming to the clinical features and the clinical presentations. So first let us see the clinical features. The age which commonly you see peripheral ameloblastoma is 52.1 years. This is the average age of occurrence. Now, why is this important is, what is the normal age of occurrence in our conventional solid multicystic ameloblastomas? It is 33 years, around 33 to 35 years. Here, the age group which is affected is a bit older. But this is only in case of peripheral ameloblastoma. Always remember, any other peripheral variant of any other odontogenic tumors you take, be it peripheral AOT or peripheral CEOT, always the age group which affects the peripheral variant is a little younger group. But only in peripheral ameloblastoma is that you see the age group which is affected is an older age group when compared to the intraosseous counterpart. Then about the gender, the males are more commonly affected than females, and the location of the peripheral ameloblastoma, it is twice more common in mandible as compared to maxilla. 2:1. Okay. Now, coming to the clinical presentation. How does it present itself? A peripheral ameloblastoma will present itself as a painless, sessile, firm, exophytic growth. Okay. The size usually is about 3 mm. It can be as small as 3 mm to as large as 2 centimeters in diameter. Okay, in diameter. And the color of the swelling will be the same as the color of the adjacent gingiva. So it is a gingival colored nodule. Nodule is a more better word. Okay. Painless, okay, understood. Sessile is when the nodule or when the swelling does not have a stalk, then it is called sessile. If it has a stalk, that you see mostly in the fibroosseous lesions, it is called pedunculated. Firm. Firm because it is firm in consistency. Many students, when they go to their fourth year and they start, actually even in third year when they start their clinicals, it is very difficult or confusing to understand the consistency of a particular lesion because it's very objective. For some, if it appears as hard, for some it might appear as firm. So there is a standard by which you can observe or understand the consistencies. Touch the forehead. Touch your forehead. The consistency that you feel here is hard. Okay. And when you touch the tip of your nose, the consistency you feel there is firm. Whereas when you touch the ear lobule, okay, that is soft consistency. So that you can put it as a standard and then start palpating the lesions. Probably you can come to a more, less confusing and more standard diagnosis. Okay. Next, coming to the radiographic features. Since it is a soft tissue lesion, there is not much radiography to discuss here. Okay, because the bone is not involved. But sometimes, if the lesion is a bit large, it might cause superficial bony erosion. Superficial bony erosion. So that is about the radiographical features. Histopathology of the peripheral ameloblastoma is quite similar to the conventional solid multicystic ameloblastoma. All the 5 histological types that you see, the similar things are seen here. So I'll just repeat it for those who are watching this video and hasn't seen my solid multicystic ameloblastoma video. So a typical ameloblastoma, you have follicles of neoplastic odontogenic epithelial cells. The peripheral cells are lined by tall columnar cells and a hyperchromatic nuclei is present away from the basement membrane. And inside, the central cells will show they are polyhedral and they are separated by large intercellular spaces, but they are still connected to each other with cell processes that gives them a stellate reticulum-like tissue appearance. And the intervening connective tissue that you see is normal, mature and delicate fibrous connective tissue. So these are the islands or nest or follicles, to be more precise. The peripheral cells are tall columnar. The nuclei, this is called reverse polarization, that is, it is placed away from the basement membrane. This is the basement membrane, the nuclei is placed away, and the central cells are the stellate reticulum-like cells. Okay, so this is the similar to this only you will see in peripheral ameloblastoma, but there is one difference that you can see. Apart from this tumorous tissue, you observe a superficial epithelium or nothing but the surface epithelium. Okay, this epithelium is nothing but the gingival epithelium because it's a soft tissue tumor. Among all the 5 histological types that we note in conventional solid multicystic ameloblastoma, follicular and acanthomatous are more common here. Acanthomatous being more common than follicular. This is one important question, maybe Viva question or an MCQ. Acanthomatous type of histopathological pattern is more common in the peripheral ameloblastoma. Right. Next, coming to the differential diagnosis. Since ameloblastoma majorly occurs intraosseously, when you see a small painless nodule, it is very rare to immediately diagnose it as a peripheral ameloblastoma. And even when you observe it in the histopathology, it takes some time, and there is one tumor which can confuse you, that is peripheral odontogenic fibroma. Differential diagnosis. Peripheral odontogenic fibroma. if you remember the classification of odontogenic tumors, you can actually see my video on it. The link is given in the description below. In that classification, we had discussed that odontogenic fibroma came under the third category. That was mesenchyme or ectomesenchyme without the included odontogenic epithelium. So in this type, when the peripheral variant of that odontogenic fibroma, you might get confused with peripheral ameloblastoma. But the differentiating feature is the connective tissue. The differentiating feature is the connective tissue. Because in peripheral odontogenic fibroma, the connective tissue is primitive, whereas in peripheral ameloblastoma, it is mature. So this is how you can differentiate between these two lesions. Then, apart from this, seeing the clinical feature, histopathology and correlating it properly, you can pretty much come to a diagnosis of peripheral ameloblastoma. Then, coming to the treatment. Since it is a very small and the biological behavior of the lesion is less aggressive. In fact, relatively it is very innocuous. So, your treatment will also depend on that. Just by looking at the diagnosis of ameloblastoma, we need not rush to a radical treatment or a radical approach. Instead, because peripheral ameloblastoma is very less aggressive and also the recurrence rate are very less, a local surgical excision usually suffices. But one important thing that you need to remember here is you have to keep on following up. Follow up is important because there have been cases where peripheral ameloblastoma cases, after they had surgically removed it, patient again presented with an intraosseous ameloblastoma, that is conventional ameloblastoma also. So a follow up is also required. Okay. So this completes the peripheral ameloblastoma, right? So please learn this lesson properly, and if you have any doubts, do leave your comments in the comment box. And also, if you have any suggestions, I am completely open to any suggestions, be it for my content or my style of teaching, anything I can improve on it if you want more content. Basically, the content that I have made here and the lectures that I am giving is for the BDS students who are right now preparing for their upcoming exams. Okay, if you want anything to be added, maybe I can add a more molecular aspect to these tumors, you can always leave the comments in the comment box. So thank you and all the best.